Just to kind of introduce myself, my name is Mark Brady. I'm the Group Sales Manager at HBXL. It was actually going to be my colleague Matthew, but unfortunately he was kind of taken ill today, so we had to kind of end up sending him home. So I've kind of just kind of stepped into the breach to show you guys our software and how we feel it's going to certainly kind of help estimating, certainly reduce the time it takes to estimate, because it can be quite a long drawn out process. We had one gentleman actually buy one of our add-ons, which is the Quick Quote add-on to Estimator Express, which we'll hopefully maybe kind of look at this evening if we've got time. He actually bought that at 1:15 in the morning. So we do get the idea that builders are generally kind of estimating into the wee small hours. It's not the time that you should be estimating, because that's obviously the time that you should be resting after being on site or certainly kind of being at work all day. So it's certainly kind of a process that does encroach into your own kind of personal time, your own kind of personal lives, and it's about saving that time, being able to kind of estimate really quickly and get that kind of all-important tender out to the customer as quickly as you can. So I've been with the company for the last 10 years. HBXL as a business has been trading since the year 2000. So we have been around for going on 18 years now, selling and developing estimating software, CAD software, health and safety software, as well as contracts software and the project management software. So we do a whole host of suite of software that kind of helps you manage your time, help develop your business, make you more efficient in the long run. So what we're actually going to be looking at this evening is we're actually going to be looking at the rapid kind of takeoff estimating kind of kit. And what that means is we're actually going to be looking at two different products tonight that work hand in hand. We're going to be looking at a system called Plans Express, which is our CAD system, and we're also going to be looking at our Estimator Express, which is going to quantify everything, break everything down, give me a price, and also give me a quote at the end of it as well, so we can kind of get that out to the customer. Now, what you guys are looking at on screen is actually a PDF. Now, what we're actually going to be doing is we're going to be using Plans Express I'm going to be importing the PDF into Plans Express. I'm then going to be tracing over the top of the PDF or in Plans Express. That's going to give me a 3D visual model of the build we're actually going to be estimating, which is going to be an extension, and then I'm going to import that into Estimator Express, and then that's going to kind of quantify and estimate the plan. Now on the PDF, that's it. I think we grab on a PDF and move it around. There we go. It's going to zoom in to this extension here. This is the extension we're actually building off the back of this property here. So off the back of the extension, we've got a nice kind of little L shape. We've got a lean-to roof, got a couple of windows, got a bifold door running off the back, and we've got a bay window at the front, as well as as I said, a lean-to roof. We're also going to knock through or form some openings into this back wall that are then going to kind of extend onto the back of that build. Now, if I just zoom down a bit and then zoom in on there on the PDF, we can then all see on the elevation side of what the extension is going to look like off the back of the plan. So how do we get the PDF into Plans Express? Well, very easy. It's going to minimize the PDF. Also, by the way, just to I mentioned it to some of the guys who logged in quite early. With the GoToMeeting software you're actually using tonight to view this, there is a little kind of question box. The actual GoToMeeting software does kind of hide itself. There's going to be a little orange arrow in the corner of your screen. If you click on that, that will extend the GoToMeeting software, and there'll be a little question kind of box on there. Please fire away questions as we go through, but just for the actual demonstration, we'll answer those questions at the end of the actual demonstration, rather than kind of breaking up the demonstration. So use that to your heart's content. Throw as many questions as you can to me, and we'll get them kind of answered towards the end. So as I said, this is a PDF. This is the rear extension we're going to be feeding into Plans Express. So what I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be minimizing the PDF. I'm going to open up Plans Express. So the screens that you guys are seeing now is our Plans Express software. All right. Now this is our kind of blank canvas. If anybody's kind of used AutoCAD or any other kind of CAD solutions, then you'll be quite familiar with your kind of blank canvas that you want to start your drawing. On the right hand side, I've actually got my 3D view open because I want to demonstrate to you guys as we kind of trace over, you'll actually see the job that you're going to be pricing up, kind of building up in a kind of a 3D kind of view. Now that's quite powerful because one, you can actually see what you're going to be building, and from just being able to kind of represent that in a 3D environment, it's going to make sure that you're right. I've done the walls, I've done the roof, I've done the doors, I've done the windows. You can actually see them kind of build up. So in order for me to get the PDF in here, now I know, I'm just going to go back to the PDF, it's going to slide along here. I know the PDF is an A1 1:50 drawing. All right, so we've actually got the drawing size, we've got the page size, and we've actually got the scale on there at 1:50. Now, I've already got an A1 1:50 open anyway, but if you want to just demonstrate how you would open up a new drawing, you would go to File button, you go to New, and you'll see there you've got New from Template. Now when I open that, you get this little kind of dialog box popping up. You can actually see there, it's actually got A1 1:50 for me to actually pick. So all I would say is like, okay, I'll pick that one. And now we've got a second drawing on the page, which is A1 1:50. So that's how easy it is to kind of open up a new drawing. So as I said, I've already got an A1 1:50 open. Before I bring the drawing in, I just want to make sure that my pen, because it's a drawing system, it's got pens in there and they're all different colors. You can set different colors, but we're actually going to be changing it to scan mode anyway. Now what scan mode does is puts a nice thick red line around the drawing that you're kind of tracing over, so you can actually see what you've copied or what you've drawn out from the original plan. So I'm going to switch that on to scan mode. Now to get the PDF in there, the PDF itself is actually called Sample Drawing for Traceovers. So what I'm going to be doing is going to my Drawing and Annotation tab. There's all these little tabs running across the top. I'm going to click on the image file button, and that's going to now locate my image file. Now I've got a folder called My Drawings, and my sample drawing for Traceover extension is located in that folder. So I'll just click open, and then what we'll get is a little kind of image preview. So yeah, that's the right drawing. That kind of looks like the PDF that we had open, and then we click OK. Now using the mouse, I'm just going to locate down to this bottom left hand corner. Now you'll see there, you'll see a little kind of dialogue popping up saying Origin. That's the left hand corner that I'm going to be placing the PDF. Now with a left mouse click and just stretching the mouse over up to the top right hand side, that's our PDF in there. So that PDF that was existed as a PDF, it's now in my Plans Express software. Now there's a couple of things I'm doing there. There's a little, for all those that are certainly kind of using Windows and using a standard mouse, you'll know that you've got a little scroll wheel on your mouse. Now all I'm doing is rolling the scroll wheel, so you can see me kind of zooming in and zooming out. If I push it down, I get this little kind of grab function. It's quite similar to the grab function in a PDF, and I can move the drawing around wherever I want, so I can really kind of stretch it out and really get into the corners of the drawing that I want. Now, Adrian Wild, the architect of the business, the architect of the software, he's always told me the best thing to do to draw over anything is put down some construction lines. Now, construction lines, imagine this in the real world. It's obviously a bit of string or a bit of rope that you're kind of laying down, and it's the kind of laying out the overall plan of the build. And it's same in the software. We've got these construction lines up here. We've got horizontal ones and we've got vertical ones. So I'm going to be placing a horizontal construction line. You can see that line floating around. I'm going to line up with this kind of back wall where we're actually going to start the actual walls of the extension. And I'm also going to place one on the top of that wall there where the wall's running across the top. So what I'm actually doing, as you can see, I'm just kind of lining out where all the walls are. So I've got a wall there, I've got a wall there, a wall line there, and a wall line there. Now I'm going to change it to a vertical construction line, and I'm going to highlight the outside wall there. I'm going to highlight the outside wall there, and I'm also going to highlight the outside wall line there. Now that will become quite obvious in just a second when we start tracing over these external walls, because what the construction lines are going to do, they're going to act as a guide for me to actually trace around. So everything's kind of straight, everything's going in a straight line. So this wall is actually made up of a brick and block cavity wall. We actually know the wall height is actually 2.4 meters high, and we also know when we place the extension of the roof is actually 25-degree pitch. So I'm going to pick the walls first. Now the walls can be found on the architectural toolbar at the top. I was in the drawing and annotation toolbar. The one to the left is the architectural toolbar. This will contain all the elements that you can use to actually build on the on Plans Express. Now I'm going to be drawing the external walls. So if I drop that that down, you can see now I've got a few options here. I can either pick a brick and block cavity wall, I can pick an external block cavity wall, so if we're doing a render finish rather than the brick finish, or we've actually got a stone cavity wall. We've also got some other walls in there like ICF walls and SIP walls if you're coming across that particular building method. If you happen to do some cladding, you can apply some cladding to the walls that you're building. If you need to convert any of the internal leaves to a timber frame panel, then you can certainly do that as well. Or if you're doing any kind of like garages and you're just using solid leaf brick walls or solid double leaf brick walls, you can choose them as well. But I'm just interested in doing a brick and block cavity wall. Now, as I said, the wall height is 2.4 meters. Now you'll see here I've got two options around 2.4. I've got a multi-story wall or I've got a single story wall. Now if I pick the multi-story wall, what that would do is the actual dialog box, the height of the wall, is actually giving me some 225 mil for the additional floor that's going to sit on top of the bottom floor. So it's actually giving me my kind of floor space on top. But if I actually pick the brick and block cavity wall just on a single story, 2.4, then all it does is gives me 2.4 because it doesn't assume we're doing any other kind of floors on top of this one. Now you'll notice this kind of dialog box, it does open. Now these dialog boxes are exactly the same dialog boxes you'll find in Estimator Express. So if I was estimating without Plans Express, this is how we would actually estimate in Estimator Express. So what we're actually effectively doing is we're actually estimating the plan. So when it gets fed into Estimator Express just reads all the dimension sizes and then estimates it based on what you've told it. So you'll see here it's the overall wall dimensions. We've got 2.4 for the height. We can also switch on these two little buttons and they do give you a little bit of help. So if I switch on my tech tip, if I'm in that section, in that little kind of that's asking me for the height, you'll see here you do get a little description, top right hand corner, of what it's asking for. So it's asking for the height of the wall, is the overall external brickwork measurement, measured from above the DPC there. For simplicity, differences between the height of the inner block work leaf and the outer block leaf are actually kind of ignored. So there's a little kind of guide there to tell you what it's actually doing. Same if I go into this, you've actually got an external leaf thickness already in there. So it's making some assumptions already about the kind of makeup of this wall. Now we've got 100 mil for the internal leaf thickness. We've got 150 mil for height of the coursing block on top of there as well. Now if I press next, That then takes me now into the foundation details. So when we're estimating the wall up, we're not just estimating the external kind of brickwork or block work, we're also estimating the trench we're going to dig out, and we're also going to estimate the footings. So if I click on next, we get the footing details. So just going back to the foundations. Now what we've got here again is some assumptions. We're assuming that we're just going to go 900 mil deep for these foundations. We're going 600 mil across for the width of the foundations. We've got 400 mil there of structural concrete thickness we're going to be pouring into this trench. We're also going to be planking and strutting the trench with our trench sheets. We're also going to be getting rid of the excess spoil we're actually going to dig out of this this trench. Now, what we're actually doing is we're actually factoring that loose spoil up by 1.5, because the software, when we put the length of the walls, it'll know exactly how much cubic meter of spoil we're actually going to dig out that ground. Now that when it comes out, it's obviously going to be loose, and we need to get rid of it somehow. So we're going to either put it in a skip, or we're going to put it in a cart-away lorry. Now that will be picked up and estimated or expressed depending on what, for example, specification you decide that you want to apply. So there's different specifications for different types of work. So based on that information, that's how the software will then estimate for your removal of excavated material. The next page is going to be, as I showed you, the footings. So within the footings, we've got all these kind of various elements of the wall that's going to be going into the trench. We've got our splash course depth, we've got our brickwork depth below the splash course, we've got our height of the block work to at least below the DPC, we've even got our cavity width, which we're doing 100 mil. I'm just going to change that to 140, because the actual drawing itself, doing this demo quite often, the width of the cavity is actually 140 mil for Part L building rigs. And we've also got 225 mil for the cavity of fill depth below the top of the DPC. So all these kind of different elements you can either change, you can alter, you can modify, or you can leave them as they are, because they're giving you the standard kind of measurements for your extension. The last page is going to be also the internal finishes. So even though it's doing the outside block work and brickwork, it's also then asking, are you going to be plastering the block work internally? Are you going to decorate it? We've got a yes in there. Are you going to be putting a skirting board in? Yes, we are. We're going to be putting a skirting board around the internally leaf of the walls. Are you also going to be prime, and are you also going to decorate the skirting boards as well? Yes, we are. So when we press finish, what I'm now going to do is actually place that wall in that corner. Now you can see you've got a little bit of dialogue. Hopefully you can all see that it's quite small. It says the intersection. Now that's basically the intersection of the construction lines that I laid down. As I said, the construction lines do kind of help as a guide. So if I left mouse click on there, you can see that little red. You can see that red line. That's the wall I'm about to place. And I also just need to flip the walls to the left-hand side. That little arrow's telling me that's the kind of pointing to the outer leaf. Now, if I kind of go up to that construction line there, it's actually finding the intersection. So I'm clicking on there. You'll also see on the right-hand side where the 3D is. You can actually see this getting the kind of built up in a 3D environment. So that you can see our 3D, and you can see our bricks, and you can see the shape of the extension already kind of kicking off. What I'm also going to be doing, I'm actually going to be placing a wall from that corner to that corner, because when we're kind of building off the property, we're obviously going to be building off an existing wall that's already standing. Now, obviously, what you don't want to do, you don't want to be estimating that wall because it's already there. So what we can do, we've got a little kind of feature built into the software. Now, if I select that wall, you'll see it selected, one, on the 3D, it gets kind of green line, so that tells me it's actually selected. And you can see there, it kind of changes a slightly kind of different kind of not shape, but certainly a different kind of view. It's all kind of a bit broken. So that means you've actually selected that wall. Now what I can do, middle scroll wheel button has an extra function. If I press it down, it gives me these other options. Now what I can do, I can actually set that item as non-estimated. It's asking me again just to double check, are you sure you want to do that? Yes, I do. So that wall there now isn't going to be estimated when we put it into Estimator Express, because as I said, it already exists. So, but what it's going to be used for is when we actually form the opening there and also there. And you'll also probably be going to put a door on this bit to get into the extension. So we're actually going to be using that wall to kind of form these kind of areas, but we're not going to estimate it. The next thing I'm going to be doing is I'm actually going to be placing a slab into that space there. You see here at the moment there's not a slab in there. So I can go to the flooring section. We've got some different options to kind of choose from. We've got suspended floors, we've got cassettes, we've got slabs in there, we've got raft and toe, beam and block if you're doing a beam and block floor. We've also got some kind of tiling and commercial carpeting and just standard, just kind of screeding as well. So what I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be placing a slab. I'm going to pick the slab, I'm going to pick the extension slab, and then it gives me an option. Is it reinforced? Is it unreinforced? I'm going to pick the reinforced slab. Again, doing exactly what I did with the walls, switching on my little kind of my help buttons, and then again just checking through. We've got 25mm there for the thickness of the sand blinding. We've got 150mm there for the thickness of the sub base. This is showing me where the insulation's running through. We've got a DPM on there as well. Yes, it is. Overlap of the DPM to the perimeter of the slab is 500mm. Is there an insulation to underside of the slab? Yes, there is. Is there top and bottom reinforcement? Well, yes, there is, because we picked the one that said that we wanted it. And is it kind of power float finished? So to place a slab, I'm going to go to that corner. I'll click to that corner, and then I'm going to pull the slab down to that corner. I'm not going to put any perimeter insulation, but I can do. I would just go around the corners and put the perimeter insulation. That's only half a slab though. If I want to place the rest of it, if I right click, it remembers my last command. So there's little kind of shortcuts we've actually built into the software. I'll accept defaults there. I'm going to put the other slab from there to there, and then I'm going to go up to that corner to meet the other slab. And then you can see there, we've now got the slab into the extension as well. So that's going to give me that area there of slab on the extension. So what I'm going to now do, I'm actually going to put in some internal block walls. We've got 2 block walls here. So using the internal block walls, I could put some internal cavity block walls if I wanted to, but I am just going to do the standard block walls. But you do have options in here for like stud walls, metal stud partitions, and also you get the options of SIPs and ICF and stuff in here as well. Again, 2.4, so the same as we pretty much did with the external walls. I'm going to pick 2.4. Very, very similar. Obviously, we've got, you might have a door in there, but we are actually going to do foundations and footings on that as well, and then press finish. And then what I'm going to do, that's going to be my first wall. Now, you'll see there it's just hanging over the edge, because if I was doing the wall that way, it would be flush to the edge. Now, there's a real kind of nifty way to change that. You'll see these little kind of options here, top left-hand side. If I just change the justification to the right-hand side, you'll see now it's actually flush. And once we kind of get down to that point, it will then drop the, I'm just going to zoom in there, you can actually then see that block wall is on the 3D. If I right click again, it will, again, remember my last command. This time I'm actually just going to do a wall freehand, and then we can just drag it down, find the perpendicular point to the other wall, and again you can see on there we've now got our two block walls. So what I'm now going to do is show you guys just how we form an opening on here. Now, the best way to do this is again using your construction lines, because what I'm going to do, I'm going to drop a vertical construction line just on the edge of where that opening's been formed. Then I'm going to use the linear dimension tool. So what I want to do, I want to measure from that construction line to that wall, and that's giving me a gap there of 3.3 meters. So what I'm now going to do, I'm going to go to my openings and steelwork. This is where your kind of structural openings are found. We've got a structural opening to an existing wall, structural opening to a new wall. So I'm going to do it to the existing wall. I'm going to pick the medium opening, but I'm actually going to make that adjustment 3304. 304. I can put the 04 in there if I want, or just use it 3.3 meters. This will also give me estimate once it goes into Estimator Express. You can see there we've got our steel going across there. We've got the height of the opening. We've got our pad stones. We've got a number of bricks at each end. And we've also got a number of slates required for packing. And then we've also got our plastering around the opening as well. And then all we do, that's the opening there. All we do is then just line it up, and then just left mouse click, and you can see on there we've now formed an opening on our 3D. We've also got another opening here, but I don't have to draw a construction line this time. I can just measure off the gap between these two walls. It's 2153. So again, all I do, structural opening, we'll use a small one this time, and then we'll just change that one to 2153. I can put the 53 in there as well if I want to, accept defaults, and then we've got another opening there that we've just formed into that wall. What I can then do, I can highlight that dimension and then just press delete, and it just disappears. I can highlight that construction line and just make it disappear as well. A couple of the detail I'm going to put on here as well. According to the elevation, we've got a bay window, we've got some bifocals, and we've got a couple of windows as well. So what I'm going to do, the actual window sizes are 900 across. So within the window section of Plans Express, we've got all these lovely windows that we could kind of choose from. So I could choose the softwood bar dummy sashes, and I can choose the 9x9. And again, the thing is with the software, once you start getting kind of used to the dimension sizes, it's actually giving you on like doors and windows and things that are pretty much kind of standard sizes. All you've got to do is just accept defaults, because you know what it's estimating for. We can press defaults, and then we can just line up that window there, and then we can just line up that window there. And I'll just reset the view, and then we've got our kind of window at the sides and window at the front. So you can see our kind of on our 3D the extensions really kind of taking shape. We've also got a bay window at the front here. So again, within the window section, we've got the bay windows at the bottom. Again, softwood dummy sash, or bar dummy sash, sorry. I do know the window size is 12x12, so I'm going to cheat here because I have done this quite often. But again, it kind of shows you, once you kind of get used to the software, it really is a case of just dragging and dropping the items from the library straight onto the PDF plan. So if you've sat with a PDF plan on your desktop and you're having to use a ruler and kind of scale all this stuff off and then calculate it, this is all kind of doing it for you with the right kind of window sizes and door sizes and walls, and we'll stick a roof on in a sec. We've also got a bifold door going across there. We actually know the size of the bifold door is 3.3 meters. So I'm going to go to the door section. I just want to show you guys as well, we do actually link our software to a supplier of UPVC, also aluminium. They do as well, and I believe they do wood types as well. But they do it's called Crystal Direct. I don't know if anybody's come across them. If you've been in TradePoint and you've bought your windows and doors or been in there and had a look at them, they actually supply the likes of TradePoint. Now what they're doing is they're actually giving you access to their manufactured, and they do manufacture them, windows and doors. So you're actually going straight to the supplier of the windows and doors. And they will kind of deliver direct, and they'll also do an installation as well if you want to, or they'll leave you to install it yourself. So if I choose the Crystal Direct bifold door, it gives you access to their library of what they do offer. You'll see this little kind of box popping up. You tell the software the width of the bifold is the 3.3 meters. It will also give you a choice of colours. Maybe the customer is asking for a red bifold door for some reason, and then you've got the one to choose from there. It will also supply you the steel timber frame lintel, and it will also supply you the cavity closer system that they supply. It'll also give you the price in there as well. Accept defaults, and then we'll line that one up. It doesn't have to be particularly perfect. They've got a slightly different kind of view on their bifold doors, and then you'll see there you've got a red bifold door supplied from Crystal Direct. And once you produce the estimate, that will then ping off with your permission the material to go to them, and then they'll be in touch to say when do you need it. And yeah, you should have a cost because it would be a live cost in the software. So you can see it kind of taking shape, our 3D image. You spin it around if we want to. Just the last thing to kind of finish off on here is going to be the roof. So obviously we don't have a roof at the moment. So to pop the roof on, as I said, we do know the roof itself is a 25-degree pitch, so it's quite shallow. So if I go to the roof section, we've got different roofs that we can select from. We've got cut roofs, we've got truss roofs. If you're doing attics, you also have your dormers, and also you can put a roof on the bay window as well, which I might do just before we finish off. If you're doing a flat roof, we've got our kind of flat roof stuff in there as well. So I'm just going to do a cut roof. I'm going to choose the 30-degree pitch because that's the option I've got, but I am going to change this. Whoops. So I'm going to press the tab button, and then I'll change that to 25 degrees as well. But that's giving you the overall kind of roof pitch valleys. It'll also give you the where the purlins, binders, soffits, where the wall plate's going to be going. Timber details, so I'll have all the kind of timber sizes, and again you can switch on this, spacing your joist noggins, width of your rafters, length of your gable noggins, gable straps at verge level centers, and also you're spacing your gable noggins on there as well as your wall plate strap fixing center. So everything's kind of in here for you. Height of your bars boards, joist centers, height of your fascia boards. Your tiling details as well, and that'll be your overall kind of roof tiling in there as well, so it will kind of estimate for all the tiles you're going to use, and whether or not you want to prime and decorate your bars boards. Now we've got a plastic one, so we're not going to be doing, that's why it's kind of defaulted to no. So to drop the roof on, we pick the lean-to roof, click OK. So in order to pop the roof on, I just got to select a wall that's going to support it. So it's going to be that front wall. And then what we do is we actually give the width of the roof, and then we give a length, and it's going to fit to there. And then you'll see on the 3D, we've got our kind of roof dropped on in there, and it'll also fill in the kind of gable and stuff as well. So it'll give you the extra brickwork you're going to require. We've also got a roof that's going to be sitting on the front here. So again, if I right click, it will pick the same roof that we've just done, as in the pitch and all the estimated quantities. but this time we're actually picking an apex roof rather than a lean-to. And again, the same process. We pick the wall that's going to support it, and then we pick the width. But this time, what we're doing, we're not giving the length. We're actually going to tee it into this to the lean-to. So we actually do that by pressing the T button to tee it in, and then we select the roof line to tee it in too. And then hey presto, and again just to sort out the 3D, just press refresh, and again all the kind of gable and everything else, the brick gables, then the is in there as well. So as you can see, this is the extension that we want to estimate. I'll also even do this little small one on there, just to put on top of there. I'll just leave it. No, I'll change that to 25. Accept defaults, but this time we're actually going to do a little hipped roof for, and then we just touch the bay window, and then you'll see there if I just zoom in, so even put the little kind of roof onto the bay window for me. So I can now see that. That, although not probably perfect, kind of looks like our elevation in a 3D. So now that I've actually done the trace over, and I've actually kind of put all the walls and the doors and the windows and the slab and everything else, what I'm now going to do, I'm actually now going to save it. So I'm going to save as, I'm going to drop it in on my folder called My Drawings. I'm actually going to call this Mark Wednesday. Oh, I've got capitals on there. Mark Wednesday demo. Save as Plans Express file, and then I'm going to minimize that. And now I'm actually ready to pull it into Estimator Express, and then it's going to quantify everything for me. So this is Estimator Express, already opened in the background. Slightly kind of different kind of kind of system than Plans Express. Plans being CAD. This is more for the kind of pricing everything up. So what we would actually do is we'd go into to My Estimates. I'm gonna have a drink while that's opening. Being in My Estimates, this would be where all the my jobs that I've estimated over time. There's not very many in there. I tend to use this as a kind of a demo license, so I do kind of tend to clean it up now and again. But in order for me to then kind of do a new estimate, you can see on the top toolbar, you've got a new estimate button. It's quite straightforward. So you click on the new estimate button. Now I've got these kind of options here. I'll come back to quick quote hopefully towards the end, just to show you guys how that kind of quickly works. But what we're going to be doing, we're actually going to be doing a plans import for rapid takeoff. So I'm going to click that button there. It's asking me where's your drawing, so it's actually in that little folder there. Mark Wednesday night demo. Click open. It's asking me for the job name, so I'm going to call it, just to be really simple, Mark Demo. It's an extension. You can drop that down if you want to. You've got lots of different work and stuff in there you can choose from. Mark Demo. Now it's going to be using what we call our master price book, and I'll come to that once we're in the actual estimate. Once it's been estimated, I'll explain a little bit more about the master price book, because obviously that's important. That's your library of all your material prices, all your labour costs, sundry items, plants. They're all in there, but I will kind of explain a little bit more. What it's also saying is we're actually going to be importing what you've just estimated in Plans Express. Now we're going to bring all those dimensions directly into your estimate. My charts, depending on what I'm building, we're going to be doing, say, a large extension. Now your bar chart will actually tell you when your build phases, for example, are going to start and when they're going to finish. And you can use that to kind of help project manage the job. It'll also schedule materials based on when your build phase is due to start and when they're due to finish. I'll explain a little bit more about that as well. When is the job's going to start? So let's say it's going to start in November for some crazy reason. Specification. Now, I kind of mentioned earlier when we were doing the bulking of excavated material, how you're going to dispose it. Are you going to stick it in a skip? Are you going to cart it away? So what the specification does is actually tells the software what you're going to be using, because you could have an extension where you're using a skip, or you can have an extension where you're actually carting it away because there's no room for the skip. So what you can do as a kind of an end user, you can modify the specifications, you can copy them, and you can actually have an extension with skip and an extension with lorry, and kind of so when you kind of do the job, when you pick that specification, that's the default kind of outcome it's going to have. You can also, as I said, on the kind of specifications, we get asked this a lot, especially when we're doing demos in London. Is, well, if I can't get the digger in, and I'm going to have to hand dig it. So again, you can actually have a specification. There's one update. There's an update coming that's actually going to build a specification for that type of kind of scenario. So we are thinking about these things, and we do kind of update the software to kind of comply with those kind of changes. So I've filled in all the information here. I can also review my profit kind of markup as well. Now, I'm going to be going for 30% markup across the board on materials, labour, plant, subbies, and also sundry items. You have the option of changing that. I could change it here if I wanted to, but I'm going to kind of try and go for 30%. I can also review my inflation kind of rates as well. So say the job was actually going to be starting say February, March time. By the time you start building, material costs have probably gone up in the new year. Bricks, blocks are at a premium. So again, you may end up having to kind of pay through the nose at that point. So what you can do is you can factor in a small inflation charge on the estimate that the customer sees today. So if they sign up to it, then you've already kind of inflated the estimate by 5% by the time you start building and buying materials. So again, it's all about kind of making sure you're profitable on the job. There's absolutely no point in doing it if you're not going to make any money on it, and kind of controlling those costs. So the software isn't just about saving you time, it's also about thinking about, right, okay, well, how much do I want to make on this job, or how much profit is how much markup is actually going to be enough to kind of give me a good kind of profit margin on this work. So what I'm now going to do, I'm actually going to create the estimate by hitting that button, and then that's going to import the actual plan. So it will tell me to leave the computer alone in a second, just while it kind of puts all that information in there, and then it's just going to pull in the details from the plan. Just while that's doing that, got a couple of questions maybe I could talk about just while that's doing that. It seemed to fill in. Yeah, I think that was because my roof, I probably extended too far back. I think you're on about that there on the brickwork. I think that's because my roof, when it came back, again, that's probably quite an easy thing to fix. It's probably just looking at the height of that. It might just be in the 3D model, but obviously that wall there isn't going to be used to actually build anything. That's just a kind of a wall that's already kind of standing anyway. So that might just be an anomaly with the 3D, or I haven't taken the roof back far enough. That could just be me clicking a little bit too soon. Yeah, you can, once it's in elevation, you can add stone sills on the elevation side of it. That's quite easy to do. You've actually got feature masonry. So once it's up in elevation, you can then kind of put stone sills um, on there, quoins as well as kind of solder course and dental course and brick quoins going up the side and brick arches. That's all kind of stuff. You've got your kind of stone heads and stuff in there as well. So once it's in the kind of elevation, you can then kind of add them to that. So that's easy enough to add. No, it's not just about the overall. There are certainly other elements you can you can place on the plan. There is also kind of electrical elements you can place on there, where your light switches are going to go, strip lights are going to go, wall lights are going to go, where your doorbell is going to go, and that will kind of estimate them up as well in Estimator Express, as well as plumbing. You can designate where the which windows going to have radiators underneath. Towel rail you can pop in there as well as where the boiler is going to go, gas pipes, water pipes, even where your bath is. What I'll do before we finish, I'm going to show you a complete house build that's been done with all the trimmings, and hopefully that might kind of show you. So when we go back to Estimator Express, hey presto, it's all being imported. It's just asking, I've got a couple of the items to consider. It's just the lintels, as you can see there. It's telling you what lintels and stuff you're going to be using. You could then give the kind of cavity wall. It's automatic kind of lintel, and they'll kind of drop the lintels directly into the estimate. So that price should slightly change. Once it finishes, let's take those bits of dialogue out. So that job is actually been estimated at 30,483 and 51 pence, and that's excluding any VAT. And it's also excluding any profit at this stage. So that's materials, labour, plant, subcontract, and also sundry resources. That's kind of item costs. It's actually estimating there at 30k. I believe the size of the actual plan, if I click on there, you can pull the dimensions out. Oh, I don't want to do it from there. Let me just close that 3D. Just take that back out. It's actually measuring it from that wall, not that wall. So it's about a 4 by 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, it's about a 4 by 10. So we're actually getting a price there of just over 30k on the item costs. Structural opening 1820. Bar dummy sash windows 2397. The 900mm 1700. Our smaller section of the roof. Actually, that's for the one that's sitting on top of the bay window. 841. And the main cut roof 8146. The slab just under £3,000. Are a bifold door that's been priced up at just over 3,000. The total walls we've estimated 8253, and also the internal block walls in there as well at 1325. So you can obviously kind of see, with me babbling on, chatting away, we started this just after 7 o'clock. So within about 50 minutes, I've got a pretty kind of good idea of the initial cost of the build. Now, there's obviously going to be lots of other items that you need to kind of think about estimating for, and this is where Estimator Express comes into it. It could be site appraisal costs you need to factor into it, site establishment, Maybe the customers turned around and said that they would like a fitted kitchen in their extension. We might be having to do some fitting out rooms, bathroom and cloaks, plumbing and heating if you want to add it. Now obviously, because we've kind of dragged it in from Plans Express, it doesn't mean you have to go back into Plans Express to do any more estimating. We're in Estimator Express. We can add any other kind of element to the job. So if you want to add a couple of radiators even at this stage, let's say we're doing a K2 double panel radiator, we're doing it 400 deep, so we can pick that one. So that's the radiator there. That's including the brackets, screws, plugs. They're all in there. And then we can say maybe you've got 4. So that's going to estimate the 4. £212 for the 4 radiators. And then we can close that one down. Then that will be added to our estimate. It just drops into the bottom there. Then what we can do is go back to the workbooks and say we're putting a bath in there. So we've got a Virgo bath in there. So you've got your bath, silicone to the bath fitting, securing the bath feet to the floor. You've got your waste pipe, and we've got one of those. So whatever you think you need to kind of estimate up once it's come in from Plans Express. I mean, I could be doing any of this stuff in Plans Express anyway. It depends on how much detail you want to kind of put in on the trace over. Again, going back to the workbooks, we could be doing some drainage. So we've got some drain runs. Now again, these are kind of items we could be doing in Plans Express, and again, hopefully saving us a little bit of time. You can do your drain runs, soakaways. What I'll do, just to give you a bit of a flavour of what it can estimate, what you can actually do yourself. This is a complete house drawing. So I'll let you see this before we do a little bit of the Estimator Express. So what we've actually got here, I'm going to zoom out. It's quite a big drawing, but you can actually do that. This isn't tracing over, by the way. This is just drawing in Plans Express, and then again, this would all be estimated at the click of a button. So I'm just going to zoom in. Just going to zoom on that elevation there, so you can actually see where you got your sills and stuff on the. And you got your kind of coins and stuff on the side of the build. That's the side elevation. That's the rear elevation. And again, the side elevation there with a kind of a garage on the side. We've also got our kind of sections as well. That's our first floor plan. So you can actually see where the hot water cylinders going to go. You can see where the baths and the toilets and everything else are going to go, where the landing is, where the stairs are going up, little cupboards and stuff as well. Got a little ensuite just coming off both bedrooms. And this is the downstairs. You've got your family room on the left. Got your RSJ to the engineer's design. Breakfast kitchen, so you've got your basin and stuff in there. Utility room. Again, got a little WC just underneath the stairs. Got a little kind of tiny study room there. And you've got all your kind of dimension sizes. And this is the external side of it. So again, this is kind of demonstrating where your drain runs, your soak away and everything else are going to go. You've even got a patio you can do, so you can actually do external works as well as landscaping. So it's not just the kind of trace over element just being able to kind of do something really quickly. That's only part of it. The other part is, I don't know if anybody's got kind of the kind of aspirations, and one of the things we do kind of talk about in the demo days is if you want to sit down with a customer, and especially really simple drawings like extensions or attics, even just a small bungalow, you can really kind of do that in the customer's presence to give them a bit of a footprint of what it's going to look like. I mean, if you can kind of then demonstrate to the customer, this is an idea of how it's going to look like. This is where your doors and your windows and the kind of overall kind of general feel of the actual build with the elevations. You can really kind of give them a really kind of quick idea, and then get that kind of estimated. We'll go away, we'll price it up for you, and then we'll come back with a nice kind of breakdown with JPEGs and 3D views, and you can kind of see, really kind of sell the service, as you can see there. And then it's using these kind of plans, and then the actual content that's been estimated then comes across, and you can place into Plans Express by exporting the drawing, the estimated notes, and the building regs and stuff directly back into Plans Express. So it's certainly one kind of element of the job. So going back to Estimator Express, whatever you need to kind of estimate, if it's preliminaries, travel costs, for example, design costs, service charges, putting up scaffolding, fit a kitchen, you may have to pop in there, fire stops, any subcontract work that you need to that you're actually being charged for, chimneys, flue systems are in there, renovation work. The software will actually kind of cover hacking plaster from walls, repointing brickwork, underpinning, chasing walls if you need to, openings into existing floors, roof renovations, how much a kind of tile reuse, etc. you're going to be using. Stripping out. There is actually going to be a lot of updates and stuff with regards to the renovation workbooks. We are actually kind of working on kind of revising a lot of the content in there, because it does tend to kind of change quite quickly. So there'll be lots of certainly updates over the next kind of 6 months. If you're just doing some decorating work, it will kind of fit that. If you're just doing some plastering work, it will kind of fit that. As I said, any kind of external works, concrete, tarmac and drive, panel fencing, as well as kind of drainage, sewage, as well as the loft conversions. So if you're converting upstairs into cut roof attic interior conversions are in there as well as your kind of roofs, etc. As I said, I was going to just suggest having a quick look at the price book, because again, this is important where your prices are actually coming from. So I'm going to click on the prices just to kind of give you an idea of how the software is estimating and where it's getting its prices from. This is the material price book. We are in the materials here. On the left hand side, this is a list of all the materials that are in here. You can filter them off if you just want to look at your blocks. If you want to look at just your bricks, if you want to just look at your kind of concrete, even down to your coving is in there as well. Conservatories are in there as well. Where it kind of gets its kind of prices from, anybody who has spoken to us may have or had a look at our sort of our details online. You will know that the software does actually link into another couple of merchants, Dewson's being one of them, Travis Perkins, TradePoint, Keyline, as well as the kind of Crystal Direct as well. Now it links into those merchants. We can set up you give us your account number. We then link the software to your account details. That means that the prices get drawn into the software. They'll come in with your discounts in the discount column, as well as your kind of suppliers, and they'll be all kind of listed in here with kind of your wastage, kind of costs, etc. You can actually add your own materials to the software. You can click on New Resource, and that gives you a copy of the one that you've just clicked on, and then you can change these elements, change the suppliers, delivery times, wastage allowances, VAT. As well as the materials, you've also got the labour elements. So again, the software does actually kind of come out the box with these kind of labour kind of gangs, these tradesmen, 2 brickies and a mate, 4 and 2 gangs, individual tradesmen, joiners. If you want to, you can actually add your new resources and put your joiners in by name, especially if you're getting some joiners that are actually charging at a different rate, so you know who you're actually using. But as you can see in here, if you've got even a health and safety coordinator or a contracts manager, a plumber working for you, specialist fitter, they're all in here at a kind of an hourly rate. So that's kind of like £84 an hour. You've also got your plant as well, so you can kind of list the all your kind of plant requirement in here: skip ramps, cherry pickers, block cutters, plate compactors. They're all in here. Sledgehammer. You got all the items that you would actually need, as well as all your kind of subcontract kind of prices and stuff in here as well. So it's a whole library that we maintain. We kind of with the HPSL price tracker prices, we kind of update, but you also kind of have a centralized library which you can control depending on whether or not prices are going up or whether or not prices are kind of coming down, or you link it to the merchants that we suggested earlier. So just going back to the overall summary of the job, I just want to bring you guys attention to the brick and block cavity wall workbook. Now I'm just going to open this up. I'm going to show you the walls individually that we estimated from the set of plans. These are the 5 walls that were in the plan. Now there's obviously a 6th wall that's not in here, which is the supporting wall we said we weren't going to estimate. So these are the other 5 walls for part of this kind of L-shaped extension. So this is kind of pulling in all the dimensions that Plans Express that we kind of drew in the or traced over on Plans Express. All the elements of what we told that we wanted to estimate. So if I go into View Resources Output, this then gives me a breakdown of all the items it's going to be used to actually build this wall, or build these 5 walls. So what I'm going to do is going to switch on this little highlighter so you can bring it to your attention. So we've got our structural concrete and what I'm also going to do as well is just look at quantities. So that tells us how much of that material we're actually going to be using on these walls. If it's zeroed out, we haven't estimated for it because we didn't tell the software that we are wanting that. Your trench blocks, the block work to the inner leaf below the DPC, we're using a solid dense concrete block. You got your facing bricks in there as well. But this is the one I wanted to show you, was the bricks above the DPC less any opening. So all the brickwork above DPC, this is how many bricks we're actually going to be using to build all those 5 walls. It's going to be 2,341 bricks, because 111 of them we're actually going to waste through our kind of wastage allowance that's built into the software. Again, you can adjust that if you want to. If you feel it's a little bit too high, you keep a bit of kind of a tight ship on site. But to actually do the build itself, you're looking at 2,230 bricks will actually be used to build that. And the reason why it comes up with that quantity is, one, you've put the dimensions in there. And if I go into Edit Resource, this is the kind of little calculator at the heart of the software. It's actually telling you, and for some of those that are indicated that you're actually using spreadsheets, this could be a kind of a calculation that you're already kind of using anyway. But it's saying that you're actually using 60 bricks for every square meter of bricks above DPC less any opening. So 60 bricks are making up a square meter. So that's 2,230 bricks based on a job that's 37 square meters in size. And that's going to cost you £892 because your actual bricks itself are actually costing you 40 pence each. So it's really just the £24 per square meter just for that element, and that's the overall cost. Now the labour element to that part of the job is going to be the person that's, or the 3 people that are actually going to be laying the bricks above the DPC less any opening. So we've got the material up here, and we've got the labour element down here. Now, the cost of that is £975. The reason being is we've got a kind of a rate that's saying the 2-in-1 gang, we've actually got the 2 brickies and a mate. It's taken them an hour to do 1.6 square metres of laying bricks above DPC. So that's going to take around about 23 hours, 24 hours worth of work over the course of this job, building 37.17 square metres at a cost of £975. Now, if we had a labour gang that was either slower, so it's taking them an hour to do 1.1 square metres, or it's we're actually saying it's doing it in 1.9. You can see that the actual rate itself is just changing. I mean, if that's going to take them 37 hours to do 37 square metres, it's going to cost you £1,561. But if they're actually doing about 2 square metres, we're actually reducing the time. It's kind of set at about 1.6. Which again is a kind of an average rate for laying that amount of bricks. So, but you've got the ability of actually changing that rate accordingly to the type of gangs and tradesmen and stuff that you know how fast they're actually kind of working, and you can kind of tweak the software to accordingly across that period. But it does give you quite a good kind of estimated rate at a £26 per square metre rate. But also all the other elements, brick ties, it will tell you how many brick ties you're going to use, insulation block, your cavity insulation, how much, your building sands all in there, your skirting board that we said that the software is going to be using. We've got 20 metres of skirting board. We've even got a third of a box of nails you're going to be using to actually fix the skirtings. Now, obviously, you're not going to be buying a box of nails in every single job, but you're actually going to be using a third of that box, and you will have to replace it at some stage. And then you've got your kind of decorating finishes, and then it gets into the kind of the labour elements, the ground worker excavating the trench. So all these kind of elements are already kind of built into the software if you're actually building a wall. Now, it's a completely different kettle of fish if you're obviously kind of building a roof. You're going to have different labour elements involved. You're going to have different materials involved. So if I just ping out of the brick and block cavity wall, I'll just jump into the roof just to kind of give you an idea. I mean, the roof's costing us £8,000, so there's a lot of elements that are going into that roof. We'll go into the main roof, and again, if I go into View Resources Output, that will give us a kind of a breakdown of all your timbers, all the items you're actually using. But the ones I wanted to look at was the tiles. So we've actually got, if I just do that view again. So if we look at the tiles, we're actually using 1,418 tiles. And again, if I go into Edit Resource, it's telling me how many tiles that cost us 70p each. It's £42 per square metre, because we're using 60 of these tiles over 1 square metre of roof. Maybe on the top tiles, and there might be a slightly different rate, because it's actually using 6 of these tiles over a square metre. So again, we've got a different rate. So the software's got different rates for different materials and different labour all built into it, and that's the point of the kind of looking at off-the-shelf solutions, because all the work's been put into the software for you. But you've got your LED flashing, you've got your guttering and insulation, etc. in there as well. So everything's for that roof is all kind of made up. So I hope that might kind of explain the reasons why we've kind of arrived at the price that we've arrived at, the £30,000. Obviously, that's not including any profit at this stage. Now, if you want to know how much you're going to make, because obviously no point of even tendering for the work if you're not going to make any work on it. If I go to the report section, so I'm going to jump out the job summary. I'm going to go to the reports. This will give me a kind of a nice kind of breakdown of the what we're actually doing. So if I want to have a look at how much we're looking to make, we've got a sales price including profit report. So if I open that up, For those familiar with Excel, this is a pivot report, and this will actually tell you 29,915 for the item costs, just over £1,000 for wastage, 30 grand for the total costs, and then we've got just under £10,000 profit we're looking to make. So the total cost of the customer, not including any VAT, you're looking at 40k for this extension at this stage. We can export these reports if we want to. We can print them off. We can do whatever we want with them. If we want to take the build phase out of there and stick in the elements, so how much the baths, how much the door, how much the roofs, how much kind of profit we're actually making on those elements, you can swap and change a lot of these reports anyway. If you want to have a look at your materials scheduling, there's a report in here that says exactly what it does, materials order schedule. Then that will kind of show you when you need to order your materials, but it's quite a big report, so I'm going to zoom out a little bit. Hopefully you'll be able to see that. So that's telling you when you need to order your material by, because the build phase is actually due to start, and this is a material you actually need, and this is how much of that material is actually required. So each kind of build phase has got its own kind of materials when you need to order by. So again, cash flow is important, making sure you're not ordering materials way too far in advance, obviously trying to get the best price for them these days as well. So things do change. So you've got your materials order schedule, and you'll also have an idea of labour. Where is it? Labour. I think it's the labour task list. It gives you an idea of your labour elements and stuff as well is on there. So when your labour's in, when you need to get them on site. There is actually another one, labour, where is it? Used to be, can't find it right now. It used to be able to just ping straight to it, unless they take it out. I'll come back to that anyway. You've also got I mentioned it does produce a Gantt chart for you as well. So when you click on the charts, that'll give you a bar chart here. That will kind of give you an idea of the total length of the job. Now, we haven't estimated some of these build phases, so we can use that button there that says get rid of the ones we haven't estimated. And then what you can do is you can then change the bar chart. You can move certain phases up and down, and then that will kind of give you an idea. Now, if you move any of these phases on the bar chart, that will then cascade into your materials order schedule. So if you say that your plastering hasn't dried yet, so your joinery second fix needs to be moved up, any materials that are then linked to that build phase will then be rescheduled for you. So again, it's about control, it's about project management, it's about making sure that you're protecting your cash flow. As well as on the report side of it, you can then produce the quotation for the customer. So we can go into customer quotations. We'll actually pick the one for showing a breakdown of build phases. Now this here is an example of what's going to be on the quote, and again it's about being able to kind of demonstrate to the customer. We can give you a detailed quote, or we can just give you a bit of an idea of cost, or we can show you some key resources that you've specified that you want to put on there. Or if you want to put everything on there, materials, labour, plant, they want to see absolutely everything, then you can do. You can take certain elements out, you can take the phase totals out, you can take the pictures out. If you don't want to keep the pictures in there, that's down to you. You can include that small inflation cost, so you know that it's coming out the customer's pocket rather than it coming out your profit. Customer friendly descriptions if you want to pop them on there. And again, order quantities if you want to put them on there. I know a lot of builders, when I show it to them, they're like, well, I'm not going to put quantities on there because they'll be counting the amount of bricks and want a refund. So again, you can either keep that on there or you don't have to. You can also make sure within the back end of the quote, under page setup, is you've got your own company logo on the quote as well. So quite important that you put your details at the top of each page, and you've got your company logo, so it does look pretty kind of professional and it looks pretty slick. Same for the opening paragraph. You can change that, you can change the wording to however you want it to be. And then once you're kind of ready to print off, hit the print button, charge at the VAT rate, and that should in a couple of seconds it will open it in Word. So you can alter it once it's in Word anyway, make any kind of changes that you need to. Save it as a PDF if you send it electronically, so they can't alter any of the items. But again, in today's day and age, sitting down with a customer, going through it, breaking everything down, saying this is this and this, this is what's going to happen, accompanying the chart with that as well, and even the plans and stuff. It's why wouldn't they be putting all their business or certainly their business your way if you can demonstrate that you can do all this using this software. So that's the quote there. It's going to zoom out a little bit, and then we kind of you can see the kind of breakdown. That's looking at the build phases. So that gives you a description of the foundations. It's got your picture on there as well, and then you've got a breakdown of the cost excluding VAT, and then you've got your materials and stuff you're actually listing there. So again, they can actually see that whatever was discussed at the initial meeting, this is what you've actually used when it comes to bricks and blocks and tiles. You've got your Crystal Direct information and stuff in there for the doors. We've got labour in there as well. It depends on how much you want to kind of show them, really. So I'm just going to kind of zoom to the bottom. It's quite a big old document. You've got an acceptance of the estimate at the bottom. You've got the price in there, 43 including VAT, and that includes that little bit of inflation that we factor in. So including the VAT, obviously the cost does start kind of going up, but at least if they accept it, they sign it off, and then they get a copy as well. So you've already got a kind of a pre-agreement that they're happy with it, and then you leave them with your terms and conditions. For those that are still kind of in attendance, I'm just going to really quickly finish off with the quick quote, because I want to kind of show you this before we kind of wrap up this evening. We've kind of seen us using the Plans Express software with my kind of drawing. We kind of drew around the PDF, and we put that into Estimator Express, and we priced it up. But there's also another kind of option you can kind of look at, is using the quick quote. Now, you obviously saw in this menu here we use Plans Express import, but this time I'm actually going to use quick quote. Now, quick quote is a really quick way of putting a price together really quickly from a predetermined template, because obviously a lot of the work you do, a lot of extensions and stuff, they do follow the same kind of footprint. They don't really kind of vary too much. Sometimes, some jobs are a bit more complicated than others, a lot more detailed depending on what the customer wants. But what we can do is we can choose, let's see, get past this screen really quickly. I'm just going to pop my name on here. Job description is going to be a lean-to extension. I can also select a job profile, and that will actually fill in a lot of these details for me really quickly. Anyway, it picks out a chart and also picks the extension spec. So I'm going to press the create estimate. Now what it's now going to do is going to present me with a library of different types of or different templates for me to actually use. So you can see how I'm just going to make that a little bit bigger. I'm going to filter that by extensions, and we can also pick whether or not it's going to be a render, whether it's stone finish, or it's just going to be brick. So I'm just going to pick a brick. Now you can see here we've got different types. Got an apex roof double story extension. We've got a hip valley double roof extension. We've got a lean-to double story, or we've got an so you can see from this page you can pick different kind of templates that you're probably coming across quite often. So I'm going to pick a apex valley roof double story extension as my kind of template. What it's going to then say is, well, are these the items that you want to estimate? Let's say we're not doing any kind of sleeper There's no kind of roof windows on this, but we'll kind of keep the rest of it as kind of a guide anyway. So we'll click OK. What we then do is that's your overall shape. So we know that the actual kind of length is, say, we'll change that to 6, and we'll change that to 5. So that's that done. Now it's also giving you some standard sizes here. The ceiling height 2.4, yeah, that's fine. Upper floor thickness 225, yeah, great. Pitch is 45. Well, let's just change that to 40. And then it's up to you if you want to kind of change the rest. We've already then got the external walls. So the downstairs external wall is brick and block cavity wall, champion. Upstairs, well, let's kind of change this up a little bit. Upstairs is actually going to be an external cavity block wall, so we're actually going to render the upstairs wall slightly different. The wall width 340, cavity width 140. Floor, we've got an extension slab, ground bearing. Upstairs we've got an uninsulated timber floor. We could change that to an insulated one instead. The floor finish, we're doing a floor screed with the mesh insulation. Roof, we're doing a cut roof, plaster and insulating a flat ceiling, or we could change it if we wanted to. Yeah, that's all right, that's all done. Structural opening, yeah, we've got one kind of structural opening there. It's a structural opening, and then that will open it up. Yeah, let's change that back to 3.3, accept defaults. Downstairs we've got a large opening. We haven't got any ones upstairs, and then you can also say that the wall opening form within if you need to. Plastering to an existing wall, again, not required, maybe not required. Might want to leave those two in. External doors, let's say we're doing and then that will open up your kind of crystal. Let's say we'll just kind of pick that one for argument's sake. Got one downstairs. Windows, you can pick some. Then we can kind of pick as many windows as you want. And again, you could pick one downstairs, one upstairs, depending on the other windows. And then internal cavity walls. And then you just kind of work down the list, adding what you actually want to kind of add. Plastering, decorating, wall and sundry, stairs if you want them. So you really just do kind of pick from the actual list. And then once you kind of get to the bottom, you can say create the actual quote. It will just ask me to confirm, making sure that the actual openings is right. So I was meant to press no rather than yes. It asked me to go back and have a look at it. So similar to what we were doing earlier with Plans Express, it then just starts building the actual estimate based on that kind of list of information. So we've kind of timed, Adrian, the MD, kind of had a look at the just doing a standard extension, typical extension, kind of from top to bottom. Probably got through it in around about 5 to 6 minutes with the kind of a price off the back end. And as you can see there, it just starts kind of estimating those items based on the overall size of the extension. So that's the kind of quick quote kind of plugin, and then once it's been estimated, then you can go in to each element. If you want to tweak some of the elements, swap out some of the materials and stick them back in. But at least you've got a kind of a footprint. You've got a kind of an idea, a kind of initial templated kind of price already in there, ready for you to kind of tweak a little bit more kind of in detail. So I know, speaking to a lot of builders and stuff and doing a lot of estimates, it can sometimes take days, if not weeks, to kind of put prices and stuff together. If you have to kind of run around and if you don't have to do it for longhand piece of paper, or when it kind of comes to guesstimating as well, that can certainly have kind of repercussions. So you've actually got a price there of that job, 37,611.79. So we've done the brick and block cavity walls. We've done the upstairs and downstairs. We kind of slightly changed the upstairs and downstairs. Got a slab in there, suspended floor, structural opening, roof. Got our doors, windows, connecting wall plastering. Got some screed in there as well as some composite items as well to look at. Well, at least it gives you a kind of a quick price. But once that kind of price is done, and you do have a similar lean-to in that area, then all you do is, rather than creating a new estimate from scratch, you copy your previous estimate, call this a Mark II. Again, it's an extension. We can then just copy the price book over from the originally, put the customer's details in. I can put those details in, then press finish, and then we've got a carbon copy of the previous estimate anyway. So, and then just go in and tweak the kind of various elements, and you've got two jobs that are exactly the same. Okay, so I'm going to wrap up now, guys. I do think that we only give about an hour, but I know I've kind of probably gone a little bit more into to others, so it's about 8:30 now. So just for the last couple of minutes, if you guys have got any questions, please feel free to fire away. I know some of you guys have asked some questions already, but I'll be here for the next couple of minutes, hopefully answering the questions that you've got, and then we'll kind of wrap up and let you guys get back to your busy evenings. So yeah, fire away, and I'll hang around until anything comes through. No worries. Some of you guys are just saying thanks very much and goodbye. So yeah, thank you for the thanks for the attending and stuff. Those guys that are needing to kind of get off. A couple of questions kind of coming in there. Yeah, we do benchmark the accuracy of the pricing, and we certainly we do get a lot of kind of feedback from our own kind of user base. I mean, their feedback is pretty kind of precious to make sure that the software does stand up. We've had a few guys who, when they've actually estimated, they decided not to tender for the job because the job wasn't actually going to make them any profit. They kind of chased the job up not soon after, or certainly once it had been done. And I think he was ended up speaking to the builders, and yeah, it pretty much kind of came in where his estimating was, and he would have lost out. So he was actually thankful that he didn't win the work, if that kind of makes sense, because it's not all about winning work. It's making sure that you're quite selective on the jobs that you do that are going to make you money, and you're not going to kind of suffer a loss. But I guess when builders do kind of give us some really kind of positive feedback, and you can read all about them on our website, on all the testimonials. Some builders have again kind of counted the amount of bricks based on the estimate to the amount of bricks was actually used on the job, and it came within 9 bricks of the total job. So it's accurate, but also just making sure that when you are estimating, you understand the elements and why they're estimating the way they do. Because you do get a number of builders saying, well, it was a lot more expensive than what I originally felt it was going to be. So I kind of guess it's about, once you kind of put maybe a couple of prices together first time using the software, certainly do compare them against maybe what you've used in the past. Really interrogate it, really kind of pull it apart, speak to the guys in support, and they can kind of go through it with you just to make sure that you're correct and all the elements that you want to be included are in there. But also as well, we do run an estimating service, and the feedback generally from the estimating service is we do get a lot of repeat customers coming back because they're quite happy with the estimate that's actually produced. It's very accurate. They tender for it. they've won jobs through it, and they've made profit on it. So it is certainly doing something right. So yeah, definitely is accurate. We do use a lot of benchmarks, and we actually use our software is actually used with a couple of magazines like Build It magazine, Home Building and Renovating magazine, where we do an estimating service and stuff for them anyway. Yeah, we can certainly send out. We do trials and stuff. I can certainly get Matt to get that sent out to tomorrow, or I might even log in and get that sent out to your account this evening, so you've actually got to you can actually install it tonight. That's not a problem. Okay. If you guys have got any more questions, as I said, I'm quite happy to hang back and answer those. But yeah, no problem. Well, I can certainly get it over to you guys if you need to. It's not a problem. I'm sat at home anyway, so I can just log into our database and get it. Yeah, thanks very much for attending, guys. We'll certainly pick up with you guys over the next few days, answer any questions over the phone you have. If you want to look at anything in particular a little bit more in detail, quite happy to run through that as well. It's all about making sure that you know what it does, when it does it, how it does it, to make any kind of final decisions on whether or not you think this is for you. So yeah, cheers, guys. Have a good evening, and we'll chat over the next few days. Thanks very much. Cheers. Bye bye.